That is an absolutely amazing kit. Hello, this is BJ from Hearns Hobbies, and today I'm going to be looking at a pretty huge kit. This is the Meng brand new Evangelion. So this is the Unit 1, which is the most recognizable, I guess, mech out of the Evangelion universe. And there's been plenty of kits around before, particularly from Bandai and also Kyoto, but this is probably the biggest one that's ever been produced. So Bandai did do a PG version, which was done a long time ago. Good kit, but looking a bit dated now. But this Meng one is looking absolutely fantastic. Now, they don't actually scale it, so I don't know how it works out compared to that, but overall size of it is just under 50 centimeters. I think it's actually 47. But it comes with a lot of really cool bits, and we'll be having a look inside. So let's go to the overhead camera. There's the box itself. There's the size of my hands. This is a massive kit. We've got really action pose with a sharp knife. Then over here, you'll be able to see the different kinds of poses you can get it to do. So this is a sort of posing that was a really big advertising feature of the Bandai RG. Had really advanced joints, so you could do these sort of kneeling poses, and obviously Meng's been able to do it as well. Also comes with a lighting unit, so it glows for, is that the chest? And then also the eyes as well. And then here's some of the structure of the skeleton inside. And let's see what we see on the other side. This shows you all the options. So it's got the spear of Cassius. We've got this Gatling gun thing. We've got the submachine gun looking thing, which is the pallet rifle. And then we've got all these bunch of hands, which are there to allow you to pose it any way you like. All right, let's crack it open, have a close look inside. Now again, this is a really chunky box, as you can see, full of stuff. Okay, now I'm going to be going through some of this and we'll have a closer look as we go. I'm not going to unpack any of this stuff though, so we'll just have to try and see through the plastic, because I want to keep this as original as possible for whoever's going to be lucky enough to grab it. All right, so let's move this aside. Let's have a look. What do we have here? All right, we've got some purple bits. So these are colored a bit like the sort of style of Bandai, so that you don't really have to paint it if you don't want to. And it'll still end up looking like a really decent model. Now inside here, just floating around, is actually the unicorn part, which has been pre-painted. Let me see if I can zoom in on that. You can just see it here. So this definitely makes it easier. The Bandai RG one actually had this pre-molded already, but being pre-painted is just as good, isn't it? So there's that part there. Just need to trim it, and then that just fits on. Now I'm not going to recognize all these parts because I'm not that much of an expert on Evangelion, but I will just show you all these parts, so whoever is familiar will be able to see how they've broken down this kit. These are probably the shoulders, I'm guessing. Okay, so there's that bit. Got this giant parts here. So as we saw on the side of the box, there was actually an inner skeleton with all the joints, and these would be all the outer panels. So this looks like the foot. It's broken up in multiple parts. So you can see there. So you got, this is like a toe cap right there. And these are perhaps the leg outer armor panels. And that looks like a bit for the shin. Okay. And we've got this bit here. A couple of sections there. We've got some grey parts as well. And again, some more purple. Looks like parts of the chest. This is the area where we saw the light was glowing through. These all look like torso components to me. And then there's some grey section here too, which looks like the jaw. So these definitely look like teeth. Might be able to just see them there. Let's see if I can move that. There you go. So there's triangular sections. So that looks like parts of the jaw to me. That's probably bits of the skull. We'll go through the manual as well, so we'll find out exactly what those parts do. And we get into super bright green. These are actually really nicely molded. Got multiple pieces here, and there's some grey components there as well. So these will be all the contrasting day glow green parts. And as you can see from the inners here, you can see how you got large locating lugs. So around sections like this. So easy to put together. So locators there as well. But the green is quite outstanding, so it's got a very matte finish to it, which I'm quite surprised with. It looks really good. So it gives it quite a bit of depth, even though it's just molded plastic. There are those grey components there. Okay, now we get into the sword, and just by looking at the side of the sword, you sort of get an impression of how big this is going to be, because this is going to be, it's going to be at least this long, I'm sure. And molded in a metallic-y, it's like a pearlized red. Then on the back, we've got some other components there too. So red on one side, and the original white on the other side. So I'm not too sure what that's for. You can see that there. So you can see how that's the original white color, and then that's been painted to red here. So that'll be a detail of some kind. You can see the surface finish there. Again, it's in that matte finish. And then you got those curved sections. I mean, it's very clever how they've done that all in one piece. It's quite a complicated mold. And there's the other end of it as well. How it's all twisted. Okay. All right, now we're going to get into some big chunky bits. Dark parts, I really don't know where these go. These I'm suspecting are parts of the main chassis. They're very, very chunky, and they appear to have locating parts where bodywork is going to be connected. Okay, so I've got those chunky bits there. We've got some yellow parts here. These are the soles of the shoes. And some white components. It's quite nicely finished again. So it's like an egg yolk type yellow, very rich. And see this side where that's the natural plastic where it hasn't been finished. Okay, some more black components. These are a variety of joints. So it'll be for the arms and the legs, I'd say. Some more joints. So this has already been molded, which makes me think that this is actually a 3-part joint for the knee, and that's how you get this really extreme bend. You're able to see it there. You can see a totally different color of the plastic. So this point here, it's all been molded all on the sprue. So there's another point here, so that's probably another joint which rotates in there. So really clever. Alright, so we've got the machine gun here, that's a pellet gun. I've got some chrome parts there as well. More pellet gun, so the green parts here would be the outer casings. Multiple piece. So again, you can see the size of that. Gives an impression of how big the kit's going to end up. Whole bunch of joints, ball joints and more sections. This is the stock of the gun. You can see how all these are shaped, and it's semi-flexible. So that's probably an ABS type material. And there's your stocks for the gun. Some more chrome parts. Now these, I imagine, are parts of the hand, so these will be clipped onto the backs of the knuckles around here, I'd say. And there's all these different kinds because there's a whole heap of hands to choose from. And over here we've got some more parts here. They look like they're for shoes. They're quite flat, but I could be totally wrong there. It's probably parts of the gun. Okay, more black bits. Big chunky bits. These look like the shoulder sections. So there's a part where it actually opens up and the knife slides into. That's what it looks like to me. There's a blade of the knife there as well. Might be able to just see that as I move it across. There we go. Okay. Lots of bits. Alright, some more black parts. These are joints, multi-piece, probably for the elbows, smaller for the arms. Some clear green parts. Some lenses. What do we have here? More black parts. So we've got chest panels here, again for the inner frame. So it's almost like you're building inner frame and then clothing this mech. Again, more inner frame. These will be the leg components. So you can get an impression of how long these legs are going to be. I mean, 1/2 meter is pretty big. Got some more purple panels. Definitely very leg size. And then we've got a red lens in there as well. So that's where the light's going to be shining through. Here's a Gatling gun cannon looking thing. It's pretty massive. I mean, these are just the barrels. So you've got the gun section here as well. And then there's a section of fine yellow. These are the plug parts, I think. There you go there. Lots of those need to be chopped off. Some red parts. And right here. So we've got this last section of black parts. This could be the toe caps for the inner frame. This would be for the arms. Lots of bits. And then we've got these. These are bags of hands. Okay, so I'm guessing there'll be left and rights in here, and these are all the different poses. So you've got these open clasping style, gripping style, fully flex power style. I don't know, I'm just making up some of these names. Thumbs up, that's probably holding onto the knife. And then we've got the other bag here as well. Lots of hands. Imagine doing stop motion animation with this. What those there? What else we've got? Got some big chunky bits. Got a big vinyl cord here. And then we've got the staff for the spear. We've got a set of decals. Now these are water slide decals, which is a nice touch. They look really sharp, so it's got Evangelion test type written along here. So these go along the arms. There's a whole selection of white decals in here as well. What's we got? We've got the light unit. Okay, so there's two LEDs. And they're chip type LEDs. See that one there? That's probably for the chest, it's slightly bigger. And then this one's probably mounted in the head. And then we have the battery harness, which takes button type batteries. So they'll be stacked on top of each other. And then you have a small switch. So all pretty wide, very easy to fit. Probably mounted in the chest somewhere. And then last we have a little tool pack. So a screwdriver with some screws. A little spring in there too. Okay, so it gives you all the bits you need to assemble. And then we've got the manual. So let's have a look. So it's a pretty thick manual, as you can imagine, lots of bits. All right, so as we go through, we've got some warnings and basic explanations. Get into construction tips, recommended tools, and then we get into the building. Okay, so this is basically telling you which parts you're going to be using for the particular step, so you can get all these sprues handy. And then we're going to be building the head. So we've got the jaw going together, and then we've got the, is it the top of the head maybe? Lots of little vents. Here's the top of the head with the jaw, so there's the jaw section we saw earlier. This is the lighting unit going into the back of the head. So it's got a little connector there. So you'll connect that up later on with the main unit. So you can see the skull cap with the unicorn horn. And then you've got the plug there to connect up later. Okay, then we start making the neck. Got the side panels to the neck. And then here's showing you how you can open and close the lower jaw. Next step is building the torso. So these are all the components you need for building that torso. Some really complicated joints here. Now, I can't quite imagine where they're being used at the moment, but this is the lighting unit getting mounted, the battery. Got the switch component there. And then that's in the main torso section. That's where the batteries get mounted. And then here's parts of the torso. This looks like the spine section. So that really complicated joint was a really complicated spine. And then we have the head subassembly mounting into the chest. Back section. So you can see how the skeletal structure is going together now. You got other parts like the stomach area, I guess you call it. The thorax getting attached to the spine, and then the lower part there too. So you get these multi-sections of joint within just torso. And then you've got the front plates, and then we start adding on all the detail components of the armor. So it all gets put on, and you see all the color coming through now. Got the back section. More of the back armor. You see how the multi-colors are used for the contrasting effect. You've got that red lens there, that's the light that's going to be glowing, and then all of these armor panels are fit onto the inner frame. Okay, now we're going to start working on legs, all your components there, and here's a really complicated joint that we saw before that was all molded in one. So after you clip it off, this is actually a 3-point hinge. So you've got the actual kneecap right there. That's how you get that really authentic looking bending of the legs. So you make the inner frame, which is all the dark color, and then the outer color panels are attached. We've got the feet getting put together here. And then you've got the ankle joint. It's like a multi-movement ball joint. Cover for the ankle, and then you do the other leg, which is basically the same thing, just on the other side. And then you end up with the ball joint here going into the pelvis. So it just fits into place. Just got to be careful that it locks into the correct component. And then we start making the arms. So all the arm components, similar sort of multi-section joints. And then we start having the armor put into place as we go. So that's very clever how they've done the multiple colors here for the arm. It's just slipped in with different rings. Here's your multi-piece joint for the elbow. other shoulder, other side, and then we start making those shoulder, I guess, what would you call them? I guess they're like the sheaves for the knives. So here's the jointed section, and this is where it opens up for the knife to be hidden. Okay, and then that's just fitted over the top of the shoulder. Okay, next we've got the hands. So the hands are going to be pretty simple to assemble. The hands are already colored. All they need is the chrome part put on the top, and this is where those yellow plug points are put into the hands. And then they're put into place, and then you can change those, of course, and then we start making the weaponry. So here we've got the pellet rifle. We've got the revolving multi-barrel machine gun, which is pretty massive. And then we have the knives. So you can see here where the shoulder panels open up and you can slip in the knives. And then we have the spear of Cassius, which is that big long spear. And this is where the lead is for the recharging point, the umbilical cord. And that's showing the umbilical cord connected. And this is an indication of how to switch on the power. So it's very clever how the back swings out. You put this little rod in there, and then, actually, what is that? Entry plug to turn on and off the lights. Oh, that's right. And so you just switch it to access the switch, because the switch is actually hidden inside the torso. And here we go. So this is showing which hands are used for which weapons, and where to put the decals. And there's your legend of all the parts. So quite amazing. That is an absolutely amazing kit. So that's it there. But that's not all that is with this particular kit. This is just a mech. You can, if you like, there is the option of doing the full platform. Now I'm not going to open this up because the platform is basically a platform. It is huge, and this is how it charges up. Okay, so you can imagine, let's see from the overhead camera. So there's a depiction there on the front cover. But if we look on the side, this is what it's going to look like when it's all put together. So you're talking about the mech itself is about 1/2 meter. So you're adding probably another 30 centimeters to the overall size, and quite a lot more to the width. So pretty impressive. And that is it there. So I'm not going to bother opening it out to look inside, because it is going to be pretty basic in comparison to the mech. But this is an awesome option to add to it to make this a full complete vignette. So there you go. That's my open box review of the Meng Evangelion Unit 1 and the platform. So if you enjoyed that, please give me a like below. And if you'd like to see more content like this, please think about subscribing. So thank you very much.